Hi everyone, welcome back to the vlog. So this one's going to be just to sit down and chat basically. I feel like since I've started my marathon training I haven't actually sat down and had a chat about running, and I do get like a lot of people ask me questions about certain stuff like my training plans, running shoes. Every time I see someone, everyone's always like, how's marathon training going? And I just thought I'd do, it's basically, I talk about it all the time at the moment. So I thought, why not do a little vlog just about my marathon training and my running journey? So here it is. So I'm going to go from the beginning of like my whole running journey. I don't know if I've spoke about it on my vlog before, but basically during the first, no it wasn't the first, I think it was actually it was just after the first lockdown. My dad had was a runner anyway, and he entered me into Sheffield half marathon, and I was like, brilliant. But then obviously I had a goal that I had to work to, so I thought better get running. So I started running with my dad, and honestly the first one was like a 4-mile run, and it was horrendous, like absolutely horrendous. I struggled to like breathe, I struggled to catch my breath, I was so hot, so sweaty, like, and it was summer obviously, so I didn't think that I'd end up to enjoy running. It was physically painful. Anyway, I had a goal to meet. I was doing a half marathon, so every week me and my dad had a distance, and then eventually I just got quicker, I got more stamina and just genuinely got fitter, and it was so good for me in that time because obviously we could only go out for like exercise and things like that, and so I carried it on through like the second and third lockdown, and obviously the half marathon was postponed to the following year, but anyway it didn't actually matter about the half marathon anymore. Like the goal wasn't my half marathon, because who knew when we were going to be allowed to do that at that point. The reason why I was running is because it was genuinely like great for my mental health, and it gave me so much time with my dad. Like we would just run and chat. Like it was so good for us both, because I live with my mum, and to go out and do that with my dad is such a great bonding session, and I feel like it brought us even closer than what we were. So for me, it's just running became, I don't know, a pastime and a hobby rather than like to exercise, if you get what I'm trying to say. By the time I did start running, I'd been into the gym for quite a few years because as I've mentioned before in one of my previous vlogs, I did have anorexia, and one of my recovery, I don't know how to put it, maybe recovery mechanism, I don't know, was starting the gym, which meant I had to eat more and I had to fuel my body to train, and running only helped me like much more because you have to fuel so much for these distances. Running just helped me recover even further, like because I still struggled with my mindset at that point when I first started running, and I won't lie, the first time I started running was more of a like, oh, this means I can eat this means I can eat that. But then it became a mentality of it became a training mentality rather than a, oh, I can exercise so I can eat that later. Because what I realised is running needs so much fuel, otherwise your energy just burns out. And that's something I've found, especially during marathon training, like food is so important. There's been times where I've been out for runs where I haven't really eaten the right thing the day before, and I can feel myself struggling. And obviously they tell you to carb up, and it's just so true. Like I know my long runs on a Saturday, so on a Friday I'm going to eat like pasta, garlic bread, anything that's going to get me through that next long run, whether it be 15 miles or 20 miles, you have to fuel. So for me, running has been a major factor in helping me with my eating mindset as well. Anyway, moving on. So I did the half marathon with my dad, and then I had the bug for running then. Like the first race I ever did, it's the adrenaline that gets you through. Like it didn't feel like, I said when I finished the half marathon, I said it was just felt like PE because everyone was doing it, but you actually cheered on. So it's like sports day, and it just genuinely did feel like it went like that. and it was like, I think like my first half marathon was 2 hours and 7 minutes, I want to say. And it literally just went in the flash, like because of the adrenaline, you've got people cheering you, it's so amazing. And then after that, I just carried on running as I incorporated it into a gym routine, like I'd do strength training, running, but I was just focusing on like, I think my maximum after that was like 8 miles. I was doing quite a lot of 10Ks and 5Ks and stuff. And then Callum got into London Marathon, and because he was training, I went out with him and I started adding more distance and going on these long runs with him. And then I entered for Cardiff Half Marathon, which was my second official race, and I did train for that, but because I was already doing the distance anyway as a hobby, I didn't have like a proper training plan for Cardiff Half. It was just basically like, I knew I was already in London Marathon at that point because I'd applied a few months before to run for Mind Charity. So for me, it was just another like training run before I actually start my 16-week training plan for London Marathon. So that was in October. So I finished Cardiff Half, I think I want to say I got 1:57, can't quite remember. So I shaved off 10 minutes of my first. But it wasn't my fastest half marathon. I've done like faster half marathons training. I think my fastest, it says on my watch 1:50, but I can't ever remember doing that. But yeah, it was just like fun. I enjoyed the race. It was a lovely route. Anyway, so obviously at that point I knew that I was running for Mind Charity. And the reason I chose to, well, I didn't get a ballot place. So obviously I applied for the ballot and I didn't get it. So I applied for, I think it was 3 charities that meant something to me. So, and Mind was the one that accepted. And which I was really happy with, because I've mentioned before my mental health with my anorexia and things like that. Like I have struggled a lot in the past. So running for a charity like Mind genuinely feels like you feel so amazing that you're raising money for such a good cause. And in the end, I'm actually really glad that I didn't get in on the ballot. Like it would have been amazing to get in on the ballot, but I hosted a quiz night in February to raise, because I had to raise £2,000 to be able to participate, and it was one of the best nights of my entire life. And it was just the fact that everyone was there to support, and we managed to raise above target. It was just incredible. And until then I was struggling with I had to sort the event out. I was training, because I started my training block just after Christmas, and obviously I had the money goal over my head. Like I always had it there that, oh my god, I need to raise £2,000 before I can even do this run. And I was worried that I wouldn't do it. But the fact that so many people came to support me and so many people have donated online, and I've done that now, then meant that I could just focus on solely running. And so yeah, for me, I couldn't have a relaxed training plan, if it's relaxed anyway, until I'd got my target. But it was, honestly, it was like the best feeling in the whole entire world. It was just so good. I loved it. If I could relive that night, I'd do it over and over. Anyway, so my training plan, I'm just literally using the London Marathon one. They have like a beginner, improver and advanced training plan. I've been using the improver one, even though I've not done a marathon before. I did do a 20 miler last year because I was inspired by Callum and his London Marathon weekend. So I did a 20-mile one myself. So I thought, if I can run that distance before, I know that I can just use the improvers plan rather than beginners, because the beginners had a lot of walking in, but I knew that I didn't need to do that. So, and I'm not gonna lie, it has been hard. Like it takes over your entire life. So my plan began January, and it consisted of 4 runs a week. So Monday would be an easy run. Well, to be fair, the first 5 or 6 weeks were easy runs, and then you start to add in interval runs on a Tuesday and a Thursday, which can be mixed like tempos. marathon pace, and then you'd obviously have your long run on a Saturday, which really it was more measured by time than distance, which I found really good because I've always run by distance. Like I'd be like, oh, I'm going to do 8 miles today, whereas this was like you got a 2 hour and 10 minute run today, and you just see what distance you get in that time. There's no pressure for you to reach a specific distance. It's just you've got to run for that time, and however good you feel, that's your perceived effort. And so I have found that really useful. And I think my longest run so far has been 18 mile, and that was a 2 hour and 40 steady run. And honestly, this run was unbelievable. I don't know where it came from, but basically I've been trying to do like easy runs because it takes it out of you. Like these long distances really takes it out of you. And then this day, I don't know what came over me, but I did 18 miles at 8:50s. Where that came from, I don't know. And by the end, I was literally like, I could not even run another mile. Like it was too quick. And what it was, I set off and I did I did 10 mile before I even looked at my watch. And when I looked at my watch, I was like, oh my God, I'm running this quick. And then once I'd seen that, I was like, oh, I'm going to try and keep that up. And by the time I got to 17 mile, I was done. Like I did not want to run anymore, but I still had that 1 mile to go. So I knew that that wasn't a comfortable pace for me. So that is definitely not a pace that I'm going to be aiming for. And what I found hard is having the pressure of, basically because Callum did it in 3:55, and I in my head have a pressure of trying to do a sub 4 when I know the goal is to just finish the marathon. But in there I'm like, I really want to get a sub 4, but I know it might not be possible. I mean, it could happen, it couldn't. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I think I need to get in that mindset. And before, I was so like adamant that I'd do that, but we had a little setback last week. Obviously the last vlog was my Berlin vlog, and so we went to Berlin, and that weekend was supposed to be my second longest distance, which was meant to be like a 20 mile run or a 3 hour run, whichever I got. Like if I did 3 hours and I didn't quite get to 20, whatever. Anyway, but obviously I was away for the weekend and I didn't feel comfortable doing that while I was away. So I booked the Tuesday off work after I got back to be able to do that 3 hour run. Anyway, Berlin, we was doing like 24,000 to 25,000 steps a day. And then Tuesday, I got home Monday, and then Tuesday I try and do a 20 mile run. Did I fail it? I mean, I didn't fail, but I didn't finish it. So I did set off on that run thinking about the previous long run I did and how quick I did it, and thought, all right, I'm going to slow it down today so I can get the distance in. And I got to around 13 mile when my ankle just started like aching. I was like, this don't feel good. Like I've never had that pain before. And I tried to carry on, like I was pushing myself. I still had 7 mile to go. And then by the time I got to 15, I was like, no, I was basically limping and running. It wasn't working. And I was like, I've got to stop. And the worst thing is, because I'd set out to do the 20 mile run, I just got so frustrated. I just started crying. I was like, why can't I do it? I'm not going to be able to finish this marathon, blah, blah, blah. And the worst thing was, it was a Tuesday and everyone was at work, and I was in like this quite remote area, and there was literally like one bus back, and I'd missed it by like 5 minutes, and the next one wasn't for about an hour. So then I'm in my head like, oh my God, I've got 5 miles until I get home. And I had to walk all the way back with this ankle. I honestly, I laughed in the end because I cried like quite a bit. And then when all the tears had gone, I was just laughing, thinking this is just typical, like this close to the marathon, and here I am with my first injury. To be honest, I don't think I could call it an injury. Like I was worried that it was gonna be an injury because it hurt that bad, but basically my Achilles was just aching. Like it was flared up. My ankle went quite big. Well, not big, it was just bigger than the other ankle, and it was hot. Like I knew that overused it and then tried to do a long run when I should have just rested probably, or done a shorter run that day. But yeah, then I had to have a week off my training plan, which really knocked me a little bit because I'd only missed one run before on my training plan. It was like an easy run, and I've done really well with sticking to runs and keeping on top of my training, and I felt so confident until that point. I think it was just because I was so close to the finishing, like it was, I don't know, it was so close to getting that long run done, and I only had one long run left at that point after that. And not going out for my runs and like knowing that I had to do different things or rest my ankle, like instead I started going to spin a bit more, did a bit more strength training, and I literally just did it for a week, and it felt like the longest week ever because my routine and my life has become running for this marathon. So then take that away, you sort of lost a bit of yourself. So I did kind of feel like I should be going out, I should be getting my trainers on right now and going for a run, but I just had to switch it up and do other things that were still keeping me active, still keeping my fitness going, but wasn't putting impact on my feet, basically. So yeah, tomorrow is the last big day of training, and then I've got like next weekend I'll have to do a 10 mile, and the weekend before the marathon I think it's like a 60-minute easy run. So it's my taper starting Sunday, and I honestly, like, to say that, it's like gone so quick. Like honestly, it's winter, it's just gone like that because I've had a routine to stick to. Yeah, and now I feel like once the marathon is done, it's summer. So I met up with my friend Imi today, she's doing the Brighton Marathon, and we were saying like the whole marathon training is a mental game. Like I run for fun usually, and this definitely can take the fun out of it. Like you want to go to a run club on a Saturday that are doing 5k, well no you can't, because you got to do like 30k. And especially when you don't, like when you want to go to a run club and you don't know your surroundings after that 5k, like you just can't do it. So what I am excited for is after the marathon just going to like different run clubs and running for fun again, rather than like I've got to go for a run. Like don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed marathon training and it's like you get these bragging rights, but I am excited to just go back to like my normal training, because I feel like I have also lost a lot of strength in terms of like upper body and like even lower body, because I haven't had the time that I used to go to the gym and train like with weights. So I'm excited to go back to that and go back to like cross training rather than like run, maybe a strength training there if I've got time, sort of thing. And it'll be good to have my weekends back, but I am just so nervous but so excited for the day. I'm just like, I just can't wait to get on this vlog tomorrow after my long run. Fingers crossed that I'll be in a good mood, and fingers crossed it'll be like the best run I've ever had, and just finally tell you it's my taper time. So I just want to go through like a couple of questions that I've had since like starting running. So the main question that I get is like, what trainers are good? Like what trainers shall I get? What brand shall I get? And honest, it doesn't matter what brand it is or like what it looks like. I would recommend so much getting your gait analysed, because I did that and I did it too late, I think. Like I'd been running in Nikes for ages, not knowing what kind of run I had, or how my feet looked while I ran, what size I was. So I got my gait analysed, I think it was February or January, I can't remember. And I found out that I am 1.5 shoe sizes bigger than what I'd been buying, which is not good. Hence why I kept getting bad feet and losing my toenails, which is disgusting, but it happened. And for quite a while I ran in the Hoka Clifton 8. I don't know what they're called, can't remember. And they were obviously too small for me, and I ran the Cardiff half in them, and my feet were just so bad afterwards. So yeah, and then I had my gait analysed and I was recommended the Brooks Glycerin because my ankles would overpronate, so they'd go like inwards when I was running, so I needed stability over like speed trainers. So, which was gutting because stability trainers are big and bulky and just don't look as nice as this, like the speed orientated trainers. So yeah, so I have to go for stability rather than speed, and I really wanted like Alpha Flies, like all the good ones that you see everyone wear, but obviously they're just not good for my feet, so I can't get them. So I did recently buy the Saucony, I don't know how you say it, I think they're called Guide or Glide 17, which are made for stability, and they're lighter than the Brooks, so I'm going to use them. Well, I need to test them out tomorrow because I've only ran in them once and that was for 10k, so I'm going to test them out on a long run tomorrow and see how I feel. But I'm hoping they're my marathon shoe because they're lighter than the Brooks, which means I can get a little bit more speed in them, hopefully. But yeah, honestly, don't buy any trainers until you've had your gait analysed because running trainers are so expensive. Like if you have to keep going through trainers to find the right ones, you can be spending like hundreds of pounds. And it's not what they look like, it's how they feel and what they do for your feet. So recommendation, get your gait analysed before you even start running. Another question I get is, how do you do it? Sometimes I don't know myself. Some days I can't. Honestly, there are good days and bad days. Some days I feel like I could run 3 marathons. Obviously not, but I feel like I could. And there's days where I can't even do 5k. It all depends on your energy levels. Are you getting enough rest? Your food, what you're eating. Are you eating enough carbs? Are you looking after your body? Water, hydration. Like, it's so many things added up which make your runs better. And obviously I work full time, and a lot of people who train for marathons work full time, and having to go, like in the winter, I don't want to go before work. It's freezing, it's dark, so I'm having to go after work when it's still dark, and it takes its toll. But as long as you're fueling right, as long as you're drinking enough water and seeing what works for you in terms of like nutrition, then you'll have the energy and you'll be able to do it. And it honestly is just a case of building up. Like, I would never believe 2 years ago that I'd be doing a marathon. Like, yeah, I loved a half marathon, but a marathon wasn't in my interests at all because I didn't actually think I'd be able to run that far. And I still don't know if I can yet. Haven't done it. But yeah, some days I literally can't do it. Some days I don't know how I do it. But it's just a mind game, and obviously it's to do with like looking after yourself physically and mentally as well. Also, I get asked about like what to take on a run. So in terms of like gels, chews, sweets, water, etc. I have tried a vest, but I just found it too much. On like, don't get me wrong, I'd love a Salomon or Solomon, whatever they're called, but they're 90 quid, and for me, I wouldn't use it a lot after. Like, I think they're a great investment if you find them comfortable, but I have tried a vest before and I just didn't like it. So I'm glad I tried a cheaper vest first before committing and buying the Salomon vest. I just use belts. So at the moment I'm wearing 2 belts because I need to carry water, but I don't really drink a lot of water on my run, which is bad. I don't know if it's bad, I don't know if it's just personal preference, but sometimes it gives me stitch. I don't really want to be like chugging while I'm running, so I take like a little bottle like that in my Nike belt, which has like a cup holder sort of, whatever it's called, and then that's got a compartment where I sometimes take nuts on my run as well, because if you get cramp, salt is the best thing, and I've never needed them, touch wood, but I'm also going to take some salt sachets on the actual day in case I get cramps. And I've not really been an avid user of gels. I've used gels a few times, and to be honest, looking back, I do probably feel better when I've had a few gels on my long runs. But then Imi gave me these Cliff blocks to try, and they're like energy chews. They were the best thing ever, so I've got them. So tomorrow on my 20 to 22, I'm planning to take 4 gels. I'm going to use the High Five ones because I've used them before and I know that they sit okay in my tummy, but I've used other gels before where I don't like, they just were a bit funny. So I'm going to take my High Five gels, and I also have some SIS gels, but I'm pretty sure, and thanks Katie, because Katie got me them, I'm pretty sure I've only tried them once, so I don't want to risk it and take them tomorrow on a long run. So I'm going to take the High Five, I'm going to take the tube blocks, like a tube of them, and probably have them all. I'll take some nuts, and obviously I got to carry my phone as well, so like I said, I've got 2 belts, which one I wear on my front, one I wear on my back, like switch around if you get me. So yeah, and I've also like taken food on my runs before, like sometimes I take Saurine, a brunch bar, like for a little break. But yeah, I didn't really put much thought into it until recently when I obviously started doing the longer distances. So yeah, I would recommend taking gels and sweets and stuff on your runs if you're going to do long ones, because it does actually give you that boost of energy. And do you know what, it's nice to just have a little snack sometimes. I feel like I've literally chatted for England, so I'm going to leave it here and I'm going to join you again maybe in the morning, so you can see how nervous I am for my longest run, and then I will vlog after the run as well to see how I'm feeling then. Guys, I'm ready. I've chosen my marathon outfit. So I've basically gone for like a tight weekday crop top. I wanted to wear my Mine top, but I just don't feel comfortable in it. So I'll take it for after when I've finished. And then I've got some new shorts on, like cycle shorts, because I tried some short ones on and they just kept riding up. So I've gone for just a bit of a longer one. Let me see if you can, there you go. And then I've got my UVU socks on. Well, Callum's UVU socks, and I've got the new Saucony's on. I'm just trying to do a little stretch out. Elston's got me some gels because my gels don't come till like this afternoon. And I've got some Cliff blocks to take with me. I've got a bit of water. Got my headphones for when Austin leaves me later. I've been listening to good music this morning, trying to get me like in the mood. So I'm just stretching, by the way. That probably looks weird. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Like the sun's out. I'm obviously a bit nervous, but obviously I'm going to be nervous. This is it. This is the long run. So I'll leave you there and I'll catch up with you after, and I probably look even worse than I do now. So bye. We're done. 21 miles in the bag. When I tell you I am absolutely over the moon, like I'm over the moon, back round and over the moon again. I am so happy that that long run is done. 21 miles, 3 hours and 20 minutes. I should have done 3.5 hours, so I could have got 22. However, I saw home at 21 miles, like because I'd misjudged my route, and I basically cut a mile out by accident. And I was like, I'm happy with 21. So I'm feeling good. My heart rate was was a tad high towards the end because I tried to pick up my pace, so I'm going to have to work on that over the next couple of weeks, doing some easy runs, like some zone 2 running, trying to get that heart rate down a little bit. But that's it, it's time to taper. So here's to the London Marathon. Thanks for watching the vlog.